Hi, welcome to Passionate Living. I am in a really cool space today, opening the show at Fred at Buffalo at Bill Covington's place. And oh my gosh, what a cool place you have here.
Thank you. It's our passion.
Our
passion, high quality acoustic guitars. That's what we do.
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's a wonderful passion to have. And if you're passionate about guitars, this is the place to come visit. And we have a great show today. We're doing a best of.
I heard that you have one of my favorite characters, Wojciechowicz.
We do Max Gail. I love him. He is just one of the nicest humans you'd ever want to meet. And I always cajole him into doing the show now and then. So
very good.
He's a lot of fun.
And then you also are planning to stop in at Costa Rica?
In my spare time. When I was down in Costa Rica, one of the places, I got this great story. My guide, who was my translator down there, she pulled over in this little roadside stand, and I had the best ceviche of my entire life. And so you're going to meet this guy. Oh, it was great. And then you're going to like this part. We've got a friend of mine who's Michael Sutton, and he's going to show us some yoga for relaxation in these stressful times.
Very good idea.
Can never have too much relaxation,
no, indeed.
Right? Yep. So, welcome to this very special episode of Passionate Living. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Miguel, mucho gusto. Katrina.
Miguel Herrera para servirle.
So, ceviche? You make ceviche?
Sí, pase, para que pruebe el ceviche del restaurante del Río.
Sí. So, Miguel has the best ceviche ever. And these are my favorite places when I'm in another country to stop just with someone local who makes amazing food, and you get to experience it and their passion for what they do, and not necessarily at a hotel that serves me the same food that I could get back home. Gracias. Gracias. Oh. So when did you start your restaurant?
Hace 26 años, en el 95. 26 años de estar aquí. Sí. El 14 de enero del 2025. Perdón, el 1995. Sí, 14 de enero.
So why did you start a restaurant?
Tenía un negocio de abarrotes y entonces pusieron otro a la orilla y era poca la gente, entonces inventé poner este restaurante porque no había restaurantes aquí en la zona. Entonces inventé que podía ser mejor. Ya tengo 26 años.
You make ceviche like this? You should have a restaurant because you're sharing your passion with the world.
Ah, sí, de hecho yo tengo mucha gente que tiene restaurantes y vienen a comer ceviche aquí porque a la gente le encanta mucho, a la gente le gusta mucho el ceviche de todos lados. Sí, a los extranjeros le encanta mucho el ceviche que yo tengo. Yo le doy probadita como de antes y a la gente le encanta. Dice que es muy buen ceviche.
A bite of this ceviche. Oh my gosh. This is the best ceviche I've ever had in my entire life. This is amazing. No wonder people come from everywhere to eat his ceviche. This is amazing. Wow. Oh my God.
Mucho gusto, Miguel.
Mucho
gusto de
gusto.
que esté en el restaurante del Río.
Ah, gracias. Mucho gusto. Today, I have a very, very, very special guest on Passionate Living, who is well known for many of his roles in the world of acting as Wojciechowicz and Barney Miller. He's been on General Hospital, been on many other shows through the years, but he's also, behind the scenes, done a great amount of work to help support the American Indian movement and other great projects. And just want to introduce you all to my dear friend Max Gail. And Max, welcome to Passionate Living.
Hi, Kat. It's good to see you again.
It's so good to see you. Now, tell me a little bit about when you were in Barney Miller. I think the magic of that show was the mix of all of your energies. I mean, there were some amazing talents in that show.
For the many who maybe never saw the show or whatever, you know, Barney Miller, it was set in a squad room,
Right.
Detective squad room, and the captain's office, and all of the shows took place in that little environment. So it had an element of a play. And the writing was really wonderful. I've been having people sending me scenes and stuff lately, more than for a long time, I guess, just because that's the way the internet is now. But a lot of it holds up. But it was very collaborative. We had a great ensemble. We really tried to find the humor in things.
Go through the door.
My friend Wavy Gravy says, when you lose your sense of humor, it's just not funny anymore. So it was very helpful to me because those were times coming through the 60s and 70s. There were a lot of things to be depressed about, just as there are today. You know?
It almost feels like recycling of a lot of the same things that were coming to the surface in the 60s and 70s are once again surfacing, and we're having similar challenges in this day and age.
Yes, it's one thing about living longer is you do understand that a lot of these things are just part of the deal. We don't suddenly find world peace at last,
right?
Which when you're younger, you feel like maybe that's attainable. Thank God for young people.
It's a cycle, and it's funny because you were working with circles for a long time. That was a big thing for you.
The circle is a natural way for people to come together.
Right.
People, and universal. You know, after Barney Miller, I got married. I had a child. We found out my wife had cancer. When she passed, I became a single parent for a few years, and I kind of dropped out to deal with that. And then I remarried and had some more wonderful kids, and I went back to work on a TV show, and I had changed and TV had changed, and it just didn't come together in a way that left me wondering what I really wanted to do next. And around that time, computers were showing up in a way that they could be in people's household. The internet was just starting to get accessible. The browser was almost out there for people. It was a college project at that time, but the possibilities of us having a better conversation as a species were, clear to a lot of people, right, without seeing the possibilities of Facebook and, where we are now, where also we could all have a worse conversation. But it seemed clear that people needed access to that. Yeah. So I got very excited about working on how to get these tools into more people's hands in the inner city, on the rural areas, which are, a lot of that is part of the Build Back Better, infrastructure efforts now to make sure more people actually have access. And in the process of working on that, I really came to see how, wow, if you can get people in a circle instead of, in seats in an audience looking at a panel, you can change the whole conversation. And the more you can get people telling their stories to each other, the more you can help them get past a lot of the divides.
Oh, that's beautiful. Wow.
I think COVID, interestingly, it kept a lot of people from meeting in MEAT space, in right, physical space. But it did, I think, help a lot of people have a conversation where everybody's looking at each other. And, even though it's on a screen, but anyway, the notion of dialogue is a conversation with a center instead of sides.
Oh, I like that. That's beautiful.
Oh, wait a minute.
You may be new around here, sweetheart, but you take it from me. Stay away from this guy. He's filth. You stay away from my son. He's not gonna throw away his life working for you, Joe Scully.
Now, you were on General Hospital recently, right? You're still off and on that show, right?
Yeah, no, I came in for what was supposed to be a couple or 3 months. Went more like almost 3 years, but it was an Alzheimer's arc. They recast it. Obviously, there had been a guy who played the part of the lead guy on General Hospital, and it's a huge cast. And I never really paid much attention to the soap opera world.
Yeah.
But a lot of people do. It has very devoted. That's the storytelling fix for a lot of people. And Maurice Bernard, who played a kind of a good-looking Tony Soprano, he played a mafia leader, but he's the main, I guess, lead guy, if you were to put it that way, on General Hospital. And they brought his dad back after him been gone for a number of years. The backstory was the dad was a gambling addict and a washout as a father. But they decided, well, let's bring him back. We'll recast him because that actor had retired. He's gotten into Gamblers Anonymous, so he has a 12-step program. So he's found some tools to help him understand why he keeps making the same bad decisions over and over again. And but it turns out he has Alzheimer's. You know, he doesn't know it then. They don't know it, but somehow that gets him back in the family, something that happened out of him forgetting to drop some money off somewhere. And the writing was wonderful, and the people, it turned out there were, you know, people on the set, on the crew, other actors. So many people have been touched by Alzheimer's. So it was
You can't turn away from who you are, and the past will always come to find you.
And what if I don't want to be found?
I know, son. You like your life in Nixon Falls.
Damn straight I
Yeah,
do.
and you love being Mike. Yeah. But there's only one problem with that. Mike is dead.
one of the cool things about it that I like to tell people about, because I got invited to be an ambassador for an organization called Project Lifesaver International. But basically it was started by cops who saw that there was a problem when people would tend to wander, often Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia, sometimes autism. And way too often it would be a very expensive 1, 2, 3 week search for somebody ending up in a sad outcome. But if they could have on their wrist something that's, using the same technology that we track wildlife with, why they could be found often very quickly, in the last place people would think to look. And so it's grown. So they're in many, many communities and growing into more, because it's set up to work with the police department and the community. A lot of people have their loved ones in maybe a home or a place where they have that going on. If somebody leaves the property, it's triggered right away. But anyway, so that's a cool thing that I'm passionate about, because it seems like every week there's another notice that they've found somebody real soon.
Wow, it's so beautiful to talk with you today and to share with you, because you are such a light, and the way you are with your family, with the people around you, with your community, and there's just such love and such care for everyone who's blessed enough to be in your path in this lifetime. And I feel...
Takes one to know one.
I know, thank you. Well, I feel so blessed. Well, I love you. I'm so grateful you were on the show today. I just I can't thank you enough. And I look forward to seeing you guys when I'm out there, hopefully soon.
That would be great.
Probably the minute that the snow hits the ground.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, I do remember growing up, on the Great Lakes, watching it was usually the Rose Bowl. It's because people are sitting in their shirt sleeves. What's the deal?
Well, Buffalo is notorious for that.
No.
Back here right now. the snow, it'll be a pelting snowstorm and they'll be playing football and you'll see these guys out there with no shirts, probably with far too much alcohol or something. Buffalo written across their chest.
Yeah. That's a level of
too.
That's a level of passionate living that is not reached.
Definitely a level of passionate living that you're probably not missing, being now you're out in the warmth and the ocean and oh my god. I miss it. Michael Sutton, who is one of the most amazing people I know as far as the way you navigate your life. You meditate, you do yoga, you eat clean. I mean, like, you got this thing down.
It took a long time.
Yeah.
It took a lot of decades, actually, but eventually you find your groove and you go with it. And for me, the most important thing is the meditation. Right? I know when I'm doing it regularly, I know how I feel inside, I know when I'm not. And when I'm out of practice meditation-wise, there's a shift. When I'm in the groove, things are going well.
Right.
So first thing in the morning, I recommend you take a few minutes.
So this is the little pointer you're going to give us today. Now, I didn't put any pressure on Michael, but I did say...
This time.
I want you... Yeah, right. I said, I want you to enlighten us and give us something that we can do for 5 minutes in the morning to start out this new year that will change our lives. But again, no pressure.
Right. Okay, so I've been thinking
Look how
about that
you
for
blew me off just there.
I've been thinking about that for the last 15 minutes when you gave me that cue.
Yeah.
So there's movement I do also.
Right.
It takes longer than 5 minutes with the movement, but with the meditation, it can go from anywhere from 3 minutes to an hour, depending on my day, how I feel, and whatnot. But I recommend 3 minutes minimum.
And that the key now you were saying with this is that the 3 minutes has to be no monkey mind. You can't be thinking of 15,000 different things, which I'm really great at.
Yeah.
But so it might take you 3 hours to get to that 3 minutes, but you have a technique that works for you when you start to get that monkey mind, right?
Yeah. First of all, when you sit down and you try to do this, let's say for the first time in your life, and then you get up however many minutes later and say, this is not for me.
Right.
Pretty much everybody does that and says that. It's very few people who do not. To quit, you can't quit for the first 30 days. You just can't, because you'll never have any kind of indication of whether or not this is going to be good for you,
Right.
okay, or effective for you.
Because it takes 30 days to make or break a habit, they say, to
Yeah.
retrain the neural pathways in our brain to
Exactly.
create a habit.
Yeah. And when the other thing that happens if you used to do something regularly, in this case we're talking about meditation,
Right.
and then you stop it, and then you go back to it, and when you go back to it and you close your eyes and you're like, oh, it's not the way it used to be. Well, you're no longer in the present, you're in the past. Don't do that to yourself. It's another crazy thing we do, and it's part of the monkey mind. The monkey mind, the brain is always going to think. The mind is always going to think, okay? And you, fortunately, are not your thoughts. And when I say that, it's because most of the thoughts you have are ego associated, and you are not the ego, okay? So when you start to understand certain things, you have a better appreciation. The more appreciation you have, the more you'll be able to progress farther,
Right.
okay? So
And it's really when you run your mind or your mind runs you. And
Yeah.
that's what this helps with.
absolutely. You read philosophy books and they say the same thing. We are much too lenient with our mind running and not taking control of the thoughts that are, flowing through,
Right.
right? So that's a practice. If you think about it, we taught ourselves to have monkey mind. No one taught us that. No one else taught us that. We taught us. So if we taught us that, we can teach the opposite. We can teach ourselves to settle it down.
Right.
We call that meditation. If you like to call that prayer, great, call it prayer. Just quiet your mind and go inside. Every single day, spend some time.
Great. Well, can you show me some techniques and how to do that?
I'm thinking I'm going to have you do this.
Oh, no. Me. Now, I once went to a Vipassana retreat for 10 days, which basically you wake up at 4:30 in the morning, you meditate. You go have breakfast, you meditate. You go have lunch, you meditate. Then you take a break, you meditate.
Yeah, like 10 hours
like,
of it.
Oh, I think it was more than 10 hours a day. It was more like 12 or 14 hours a day. Like if you were sleeping, you were meditating. And after 3 days, I wanted to run screaming into the night. I just wanted to get out of there, and I forced myself through it. And I could sit for a full hour without thinking, but now, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to practice on me.
Yeah, I'm going to talk you through
All right.
so that your audience can hear. What we have often been taught is the most difficult pose in yoga.
Oh, great.
So I'm going to have you lay down this way.
All right.
And this pose is called Shavasana. You've heard of it. I'm going to have you take your arms.
It's the relaxing part after a really strenuous yoga routine.
Practice, right.
Yeah.
So to come out of this pose, when you're in it for a while, normally longer than this time period, but I'm going to have you come out of this pose now. You start moving the peripheries, the limbs. A nice stretch feels good. You bend your knees, you roll to one side, and you bring yourself up.
That was nice.
That was a good job.
Got a little nap. Yeah. No, that actually felt really good when I laid on the ground. Although I'm always relaxed when I'm around you. You have that calming effect on people.
That's so nice.
It was easy to kind of drop in. But, this is so great, Michael. And I know it's going to help my life to do this every day. It's a great reminder, and hopefully it helps yours out there. And again, if you don't get it on the first try, keep trying every day.
But thank you for coming over. I
Thank you.
very much appreciate it. It's nice to see you again. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's so great to see you again, and thank you for this beautiful advice.
Oh, you're very welcome, Kat. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today on this very special journey into passionate living. Remember to watch us each week on Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. on your true hometown station, WBBZ. As well, you can go to our website at passionateliving.com and to our YouTube channel, Passionate Living TV. Thank you again so much for joining us today, and remember to take just 5 minutes in the morning to still that gorgeous brain of yours, because it's just like a computer. Sometimes we have to turn off the computer so it can recalibrate, reset itself, and then it works so much better afterwards. It's the same with that gorgeous computer between our eyes right here, and if you turn it off, it recalibrates itself and optimizes that brain so that it works even better for you. So thank you again so much for joining us today. We send you so much love and all kinds of great energy for fabulous health.